Hello and thanks for joining us. We're starting with a movie that's out of this world. First Man by Oscar-winning filmmaker Damien Chazelle of La La Land and Whiplash fame follows the journey of Neil Armstrong over the years until he landed on the moon. The film starring Ryan Gosling is out in France this week. France 24's Vincent Roux met the actors and the director on the red carpet in Paris.
One small step for a journalist, one giant leap for movie fans. First Man is a fascinating yet terrifying adventure far, far away from La La Land.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Be an adventure.
First man to walk on the moon. That'd be something.
Vous êtes venu voir qui?
Alors Damien Chazelle, Claire Foy et Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
La Lune. Claire Foy, parce que je suis un grand fan de la série The Crown.
Ah, Ryan, love.
Ryan.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
After La La Land's huge success, was there big pressure on this movie?
Yes, of course, but I'm not sure it was because of La La Land's success. For me, it was a big responsibility to shoot such a story. So historic, well-known, nearly mythical. It's part of American mythology. And even more, we had the responsibility to do justice to this story.
There was a lot of pressure. Neil was a very exceptional person in many ways, but I think the biggest challenge was knowing that his sons would see the film and just feeling like, that we would, honor their parents and it's the biggest reward is that they have seen the film and they have been fully supportive of it, so I can't imagine a better outcome.
Most people discovered you as the Queen of England. Was it a challenge to play an American housewife?
It was a challenge, yeah, but it was also a challenge to play the Queen because I'm not her. So I'd say I'm closer to Janet than I am to Her Royal Highness. I just did as much research as humanly possible. I think a lot of people know the story of Neil, but they don't know that Janet's part in his journey.
This isn't just another trip, Neil. You're not just going to work.
Do you think you're coming back?
There are risks, but we have every intention of coming back.
Somebody got a Swiss Army knife?
Swiss Army knife? Are you kidding me? To embody Neil Armstrong, Ryan Gosling had to endure the same physical training as the astronauts of the Apollo mission. And he performed most of the stunts himself.
I can't complain because I'm sure it wasn't even a fraction as hard as what the real thing was. So whenever it was difficult, it was helpful as a reminder of just how dangerous these missions were and how extreme this endeavor really was.
First La La Land, then the moon. Where will you send Ryan Gosling next time?
I don't know yet, we'll see.
Are you prepared to do about anything for him?
No, there's limits.
What kind of?
Well, I don't know, but I'm going to keep some boundaries there.
At some point, I'm going to try and convince him to do another musical and let me be in it. It'd be a disaster. No, I would try and hold me back. Anything he does, I would say yes to.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It's one of the most famous things I think ever said in history, and not just because of the achievement, but because of what a beautiful sentiment that is. And Neil was a very exceptional person, but I think that line is actually good example of that he was able to always see the larger context of things. He could see a giant leap in one small step.
Un petit pas pour l'homme, un grand pas pour l'humanité.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Here we go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Vincent Roux reporting there. Next, a salt and pepper pot for the king and queen, a vase for the prince, a matchbox for the servant, a toilet rolled tube for the innkeeper. The complete works of Shakespeare being performed at Paris's Espèce Cardin using a collection of everyday objects as stand-ins for the characters on an ordinary tabletop. Here's Kathy Naden and Robin Arthur from the theatre company Forced Entertainment, who are behind the shows, and a taster of their adaptation of Macbeth.
It's completely the opposite of, big spectacle, costumes, loud noise, theatrical effects. It all has to be done through the kind of manipulation of the objects and the sort of this kind of quite fluid relationship you have between being a storyteller and being like a puppeteer almost.
People tend to say about Shakespeare, well, the stories are really not very interesting, but the language is fantastic. So I suppose for us there was a kind of perverse pleasure in saying, well, OK, we're going to do Shakespeare, we're not going to do the language, we're just going to do the stories.
King Duncan, who's the king of Scotland, is waiting for some news from two battles that are being fought, one against the Irish and the other against the Norwegians. And he's waiting there with his two sons, Malcolm, the eldest, and Donalbain. And with him is the Thane of Lennox and Macduff, the Thane of Fife.
And you can see complete works tabletop Shakespeare at Paris's Espèce Cardin until the 20th of October. Ancient cities destroyed by war are brought back to life thanks to state-of-the-art virtual reality in a new exhibition. The show at the Arab World Institute in Paris shines a light on Aleppo, Palmyra and Mosul. Ellen Gainsford reports.
Stroll through the souks of Aleppo. Wander across the ancient paving stones of Leptis Magna. Walk the streets of Mosul and Palmyra and imagine how they'd look reconstructed. The latest exhibition at the Arab World Institute allows you to journey to these ancient cities. Relics of brilliant civilizations which have all been damaged by conflict in recent years.
We decided to create an entirely virtual exhibition using images, videos, photographs, and 3D reconstructions. Through these techniques, the exhibition makes you feel as if you're there at these sites, that you can travel there virtually.
To reconstruct these sites virtually, technicians took hundreds of thousands of photos, which were then pieced together using imaging software. These detailed pictures could also serve to help future restoration.
These monuments need to be restored or reinforced urgently. So that's the important part of our work. It's to gather precise data so that international experts can examine it and say, that's the kind of restoration it needs.
The exhibition is part of a joint project between France and the United Arab Emirates, aiming to protect heritage sites during times of conflict.
Both France and the United Arab Emirates are very motivated to act. This exhibition is a great example of this partnership. We hope that visitors will be inspired to fight to safeguard history and heritage and against fanaticism and terrorism.
By using new technologies to bring ancient sites to life, the Arab World Institute hopes to pass the message on to the next generation of budding conservationists.
Images of an emaciated child crying and a boy hobbling on crutches are among more than 100 paintings on display in Yemen's rebel-held capital Sana'a, aimed at highlighting the human suffering of war. More than 20 Yemeni painters have taken part to attract attention to the ongoing war in Yemen, which has killed nearly 10,000 people since 2015, and triggered what the United Nations has described as the world's worst humanitarian crisis.
It's a message of the resistance of the Yemeni people. Despite the wounds and despite the siege, there is still creativity, there is still art. It's also an attempt to revive the conscience of the world which died with the suffering of the Yemeni people and the siege.
I participated in 3 paintings. One of the paintings, which is my favourite and I keep it very close to my heart, represents a child in every country. The child is sad and is using the country to cry.
And we'll leave you with images from the week-long exhibition in Yemen. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.